Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, I am a long-time Shadowverse player. I have been playing for thousands and thousands of hours for many years, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm good at the game. Back in the olden days of Starforged Legends, I actually hit Grandmaster using my own deck. And it was actually featured by Shadowverse YouTube sensation Ignidius himself in 2 videos, so I was really proud of that. The deck was lucky enough to carve a hole in the meta, and no one saw it coming. I actually had a 10-game plus spree in Grandmaster when I hit it, I think. I also play Magic the Gathering in real life, and I played Hearthstone and many other card games, so I'm somewhat of a veteran when it comes to card games. And yet, despite that being the case, I have caught myself in a bit of a pickle. For after my previous video where I was dismantled by Swordcraft and realising that my favoured deck, Forestcraft, was countered pretty hard by Sword, I decided to learn something else. I thought, you know what, I've done well with Storm Havencraft in the past, let's pick it up again, let's give that a try. Well, I did not have a fucking clue what I was doing, and I very quickly started to drop down in rank. Before I knew it, I was in Ruby, and then by a blink of an eye, I was back in Topaz, which I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think I would ever end up back in Topaz, but hey, here we are. So at this point, I realised the deck isn't finished. I was missing 1 copy of the legendary Salefa, which is great for stopping aggro decks as it can clear the board on turn 5. And so I was thinking, how can I get these vials to craft this last legendary so I can try and do well with this deck? So I decided I would get the 5 ranked Winds Feet for each of the classes I haven't played. They give 500 vials each. It shouldn't be too bad. I'm in Topaz. How hard can it be? Even if I can't make a full deck for Abyss and Portalcraft, that shouldn't matter. It's Topaz, right? Even a budget deck will do. Nope. I dropped back down to Emerald. The very, very bottom. Good God, I am terrible. And so I thought we'd look at a game I lost when I was in Topaz on my descent into the dark, dark depths of Shadowverse Ranked. Here we are, once again facing off against my arch nemesis Swordcraft, except this time I have Havencraft, which is meant to be a pretty good counter to Sword. I'm not playing Forest, which is a weak matchup, so I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be all right. I'm going to do it. We're gonna get revenge. And my starting hand feels pretty good. I've got the 2-drop Pact of the Beast there, which great value. You get a 4/4 there, which is going to be nice for early trading. And some other bits, I've got 2 Soletas in my hand, which are amazing against Sword, both for the free heal, the ward, and the evolve that's going to wipe board. So I play down my amulet here, which is going to allow me to heal more and just generally keep me alive and buff my units. And we see he does get a very strong start as far as his curve, which, you know, we come to expect this anyway. You expect the Quick Blade on turn 1 for these more aggressive decks, and you've just got to deal with it. You've just got to put up with it. So I'm trying to establish some board presence here so that I can try and stem his sort of curve a little bit, make sure he doesn't get too out of hand. You can see he's got 4 full minions on the board here, but here's my massive swing turn. I've got Salefa, so I'm going to put that down. I'm going to heal for free, and I'm going to clear those bastards off the planet. Get out of here, you are scum. And it goes back to his turn. So at this point, my amulet's about to pop next turn as well. I'm about to get a 4/4. I'm going to 5/5 Wardo, and I've only used 1 evolve. He's dropped both of his evolves already, and I'm looking really good here. Like, I'm feeling really, really happy about the situation. Use my amulet to buff the tiger so he can trade more efficiently. Pop Salefa down again just to get the extra heal and the ward in. Obviously, I could have held on to that for more board clear later on, but I thought, you know, tempo-wise, I felt like this was the better play, especially since it allows me to save and evolve. Now, he gets Olivia out with a 2-drop, which of course is just a great play with a super evolve. Lets him take out both of my units, chips down my health a little bit, but at this point, he's only got 1 super evolve left, and I've got 3 evolves in total, so I'm feeling pretty damn comfortable. Like, I've got a load of health, he's not managed to chip me down, and I can just do the same play back to him essentially, and take out both of his minions, chip him for a little bit of damage, and I'm still on full health. So, you know, we're deep into the game now, we're getting towards the back end of the game, and I'm feeling really comfortable. Like, I'm pretty sure I've got it in the bag. He does get his Bane unit out, which is a little bit annoying because that allows him to trade with one of my units for free, and he obviously gets the huge evolve effect on whatever that unit is. I can't remember its name, but the 4-drop, which gets him another board. But luckily for me, this deck has so much removal. This has got board wipe after board wipe after board wipe, and it's part of the reason why this deck is meant to be so good against swords. So again, I have to use a super evolve to shut down that 7-1, but shut it down I do, and that is just going to be absolutely great for me there. But he does come back with one of my most hated cards. This is an absolute nightmare. It just floods the board with wards, and when you're playing Forestcraft, there's really little counter to that. But luckily, again, another board wipe, another John, I don't know how you pronounce that name, but he comes back again with another one. Kind of frustrating, but I still haven't evolved. He's running low on cards as well at this point. He's only got 2 cards in his hand. I've got a decent amount of cards in my hand, and luckily for me, I can just keep wiping the board. So I do choose to use my last evolve to take out the 6-3 here, because I am just scared of being on low health against Swordcraft. You know, I'm always expecting Albert to just pop around the corner and just punch me in the face. And even though he doesn't have any evolves to buff Albert's damage, it's still going to be nasty damage. And here we can see he pops up and he gets a nice trade there, leaving a 3-1 Albert. Now, I thought I was going to win by this point, but no, the game's still ongoing. I'm still feeling pretty confident though. I've managed to clear again. I've got a Sacred Griffin in my hand, which is really nice with the amulet that gives +1, because it allows me to storm straight away. So I'm waiting for a good opportunity to do that. But again, he just floods the board. And at this point, I'm like, I'm probably need a Vessel here. I could have traded my minions on the board and not used Vessel, but I felt like with my Storm Amulet and with Griffin in my hand, it would be fine. We're going to see him build the board again, but he's only got 1 card in his hand, so I choose to Vessel again here and wipe, and then pop my Amulet, and at this point, he's getting pretty low. He's on 7 health, I've still got the Griffin in my hand, and that can deal 7 damage, and so I'm really thinking, right, this is looking really good. He does use Ravening Tentacles to get that off the board and get out of lethal range, which was a little bit frustrating, but I pop my Griffin down, and I am just going to, bang, hit him for 7 damage, really nice there, knock him down to 5. And this is where the extreme dickery starts, because this fucking guy, Genos, just comes in, removes my Griffin, and I've got no cards. Where have my cards gone? I've got nothing. I'm 1 damage away from lethal here. I can buff that Falcon to 4, but he has 5 health, and because Genos can hit twice a turn, if I leave Genos on the board, he could just kill me next turn. And so somehow, I don't know how, I thought this game was unlosable, but I actually managed to lose. I cannot believe it. I was absolutely heartbroken here. You know, I thought this was the time. I thought this was the time for me to finally get revenge against Sword. But no, at this point, I'm just a Topaz player on the way down to Emerald. And yeah, it gets worse before it gets better. I thought you guys would enjoy more of my extended misery. I am happy to announce that I am back in Sapphire now with Stormhaven, so it did work down in the end, but I did drop all the way from Sapphire to Emerald before having to climb all the way back up to Sapphire again. But that's the name of the game, you know. It's hard, but it is what it is. But thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I am going to continue doing more Shadowverse content in the future. I hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Really appreciate it. This is only my 2nd Shadowverse video, and I'm really trying to cultivate an audience here, so it all makes a massive difference. Thank you all again. I hope you have a wonderful day. Good night, and God bless.